Thank you. Very flattering. Well, as some of you have maybe experienced, I do a lot of exotic and odd, maybe unique ingredients of chocolate, being like bacon and wasabi and curry and cheese and olive oil. And most people ask me, why? Is that good? And actually, I started thinking about the process of creating these chocolate collections, and I realized that actually I go through a 4-step process in creating. And so I wanted to talk about the origin of that, which is the first step of falling in love with either beauty or cause. And it's that act of falling in love that gets you centered to go to the next step. So I fall in love in places like this. So for me, I love cultures and artists and architects and religions and movements, and that's what really gets me to stop and think. So here are some of the things that provoked me to create. Antonio Gaudi's La Sagrada Familia, and the detail of the mosaic work got me thinking about him in Spain and led me to saffron and chocolate, and then I rolled them in different sugar crystals to represent his mosaic work, and I told the story. And the Nagaland people from northeastern India were brought to me by this necklace that I had been given, and they told me it was seashells. It's actually tiger's teeth, and the energy was so amazing that I actually founded my company based on telling the story about the Nagaland people, and I connected that through curry, coconut, and chocolate, and telling their story. And then Montezuma, of course, you hear of this story about the ritual 50 times a day, drinking out of a gold chalice before you visit your many wives. This is the original aphrodisiac, and that was certainly a draw. And then the foam was the most desired part of the drink, and they would crush with chilies and chocolate. And that brought me to tell the Aztec collection story and create a lot of different products that maybe you've tried with chilies and chocolate. Aboriginal culture and the amazing story of dream time in their culture, and the ingredients like wattle seed and quandong and rye berries. Yoga and chocolate. Yoga has been a really instrumental thing in my life, and we use chocolate as a tool to get people to slow down and be present, and when they are, any experience is amplified. Motorcycles, I did a whole collection with that, and the moon, the full moon. So these are things that I love, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So the next step is inspiration, and inspiration is after you fall in love with the beauty or the cause, that's when you start to go deeper and connect with the story behind the beauty. And for me, inspiration brings vision. And if you listen really carefully, you'll hear the vision. And this will launch a collection for me.
Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind.
Music hits you, but you feel no pain. But it's happening. And it's the same thing with the message. It hits you, but you don't feel no pain. What it does for you is to give you a vision and a reason to change your lifestyle, your convictions, it's like a purge.
We are the only one who can express the people's feeling through music. And because we can do that, the people love it. It's just a matter of proving our potential, see, and a matter of spreading more messages, because when we were together, we were singular.
And I don't care who the guy is, because my right is my right, like my life, If you listen carefully, now you will hear.
So when I was growing up, and I was probably 10, my room was right next to my mom's bathroom. And every morning when my mom put on her makeup, she would listen to Bob Marley every morning. And, I loved the beat and the music, but then when I started listening to what he was saying, and the social commentary and the call for change and the peace, and I just realized that his medium was chocolate, and he's like, you hit me with music, but you feel no pain, but people can listen. And so when I started my company, Bob Marley definitely in the lyrics sort of ran through me in the sense that chocolate became quickly my medium to tell stories and maybe to get people to open their minds to new ideas. And so I ended up so inspired by Marley's lyrics that I have to do a collection about this. So then I went from Bob Marley to Rastafarian culture, and then Rastafarian culture brought me to Ethiopia and got me to Haile Selassie, and I studied that, and then I came back to the roots of Jamaica, and then I went from Jamaica to, okay, what grows in Jamaica? And so the first thing I thought of course, was hemp seeds, and then I thought of Jamaican allspice, sorrel, Blue Mountain coffee, hibiscus flowers, and coconut. And so I used all those ingredients and lyrics and words to tell the story about Rastafarian culture through chocolate. And so the collection of Zion launched. So then the next step in my process is the idea of acting. And Stanley Marcus, I once read that he said, there are the dreamers and their heads are always in the clouds, and there are the workers and their nose are always down to the grindstone. And then there's that rare person that's 95% dreamer and 5% activist worker. And that's the person who causes change in the world. And that really resided with me because you can't always just think, you have to do and react. And so I have a few role models that remind me of that.
I'm tired of war and conflict in the world. I'm tired of shooting. I'm tired of hate. I'm tired of selfishness. I'm tired of evil. I'm not going to use violence, no matter who says it.
Life in peace, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
The sweet life is having a lifestyle business on a beautiful, culturally intact island like Bali.
John Hardy as a brand is growing every day. From America to Russia, the Middle East to China, Malaysia and Japan. It is an evolving brand bringing beautiful handmade jewelry with a story to tell to the world.
From top to bottom, this factory is a model of what the Hardys call sustainable luxury. All of the buildings are made of bamboo or mud brick. There's even an organics farm on the property. It's all about respecting and embracing local Balinese culture. The workshop resembles a farming commune where the 500 workers are served an organic lunch every day.
People are watching companies that are successful. So the only thing we can do is lead by example.
So when I met John Hardy and Ben, actually, a few years ago, this idea of sustainable luxury really resonated with me. And at that moment, I committed to myself that I would live my company's value system in the same way that I did my own. And so I'm the only one who can make those decisions. And so I decided that we would build a green, LEED certified platinum level manufacturing facility that would be a lifestyle place for education. We would have a rooftop garden, and we would have organic lunches for our staff, and we would be completely off the grid, which we're in the process of building now, hopefully to be done in 3 years. But it's like when you have role models, you know, you just have to react, because all of us in this room stand on a very big platform and can make change. And so after just seeing that, I decided that's what I was going to do. And then this next clip is some really inspiring women who acted. And we'll tie that later.
مقبول دیگه نمیشونه آقا ماما این دروازه رو واکنه
برو میفهم که از خانه خیالش کن بده
خارگو با این سوی از خانه آمدی
برو دیگه
When I left Afghanistan, it was a modern city. It was very modern for the place it was. I was going to university, and we worked in the offices, wearing miniskirts, getting our hair fixed. If you imagine Afghanistan from 20 years ago, I've gone back maybe more than 100.
It's for a program where we're helping the women, and we're on a very low budget. I'm a hairdresser, and I work in New York, in the United States in New York. And we founded the program. The U.S. beauty industry gave money to open the beauty school for the women.
مردای ما مفکوره پوچی داره بگوش پوچی جا آمده از مردا نمیمانه با هم که حقوق زن مرد یکی کنی خوبه
پایتان رنگ ناخون نباشه سرپایی نپوشین جراب بپوشین این را دیده بودم که دست قطع میکردن پای قطع میکردن دست قطع میکردن سه زن هم دیدم که سه زن امرای چادری سرش تیل انداخته بودن در داده بودن او را هم دیده بودم
So when I first started my business, it was 1999, and I took a trip to Paris, and I was in a fancy salon, and I was getting my hair done, and I was reading a Marie Claire magazine, and I flipped to a page where I saw this woman who had an extremely marred, mangled, scarred face and arm, almost unrecognizable, and I started reading the story, and it was about this Afghanistan woman who had shown a little bit too much arm skin, and so her husband decided to punish her, so he threw acid all over her face and her body, and I read that in total shock and disbelief, and I felt incapacitated myself as to like, what could I do? You know, I always want to help and do something, but I started this business and all I do is work, and so how the heck am I going to fit that into my schedule? And so I went back to the United States in Chicago, and I started researching what organizations are out there, and I found this woman who's Eve Ensler, who started an organization called V-Day, which was an anti-violence and against women and girls worldwide, and they really supported grassroots organizations. So I contacted them, and it happened to be the first year that they had started, and I said, could I be your chocolate sponsor? I'm just starting out, but maybe I could help, and they were like, sure. So I created this package, this hat box that proceeds went to V-Day, and so that's what I did. And so now I'd like to take you through is the entire experience of creation. And the last phase is the experience where the consumer interacts with the product. And so if I can start from the beginning, I'm going to do this collection called Groove, which I think Nemo will really like, I hope. And the first thing that happened with this collection is that I recognized my love for the beauty of music.
If you're tired. Music is a world within itself, with a language we all understand.
So I fell in love with music, and then I was in a car in Dallas, and it was a rental, and I was flipping through all the stations, and I realized that they were all hip hop. And I started thinking about who was influencing hip hop, and it was African Americans, and I started thinking back about their past and where they came from, and I thought this was pretty amazing. So then I started going through P. Diddy, okay, Jay-Z, and then I started associating ingredients with them. That was the inspiration part that started connecting me. So I thought of gold leaf and champagne. And then I was like, okay, what's the next one? Oh, rap. So that was the next one. I was like, oh yeah, hugely influenced, and it's Common and Public Enemy, and Biggie Smalls, and I was thinking like, okay, so this is a very bitter time. How would I connect this? And then I thought of horseradish and lemon zest. And then that was my rap chocolate. And then I was at that stage where I was like, but this collection wouldn't be complete without music, so I have to have a CD. So then I started picking out the songs that I would have that would be perfect to eat with each chocolate. So then I had James Brown and funk, and of course I thought of a banana, so I did buttermilk banana pudding, and you can draw that. And then Motown and soul and Marvin Gaye, and he's so smooth that I just kept thinking of butter. And then I went back further, and I was like, rock and roll. And rock and roll, this was actually like the first arguably recognized rock and roll song was Chuck Berry and Fats Domino and Little Richard. And then rock and roll, I think of smoke and cigarettes. So I did a tobacco smoked cream with clove. That was my rock and roll. And then rhythm and blues really started a lot with Ray Charles, Joe Turner, Otis Redding, and I just thought of Jack Daniels. And bebop is one of my favorite periods of music, and so here's Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker and Thelonious Monk, and they started this sort of artist music, and this was when it was coming from big band and swing, and it was very organized, and bebop was like the artist music, and they had their own language, and they were talking about what was going on socially at the time, and there was a big conversion to the religion of Islam during the time. So I was thinking about that, and then I came up with Moroccan mint and sumac for bebop. And gospel, another hugely impacted by African Americans and the Staple Singers and Thomas Dorsey. and Mahalia Jackson, and I kept thinking about church socials, and then that brought me to pecan praline, and then I got pecan, so then I made a pecan praline truffle and had a song by the Staple Singers.
Well, a nickel is a nickel,
And then
dime is a
blues,
dime,
which
house full of children
I
and
love,
one
and
mama.
this is John Lee Hooker, and I just kept thinking about the South and Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters, and I thought of bacon. So that's actually my favorite truffle. And New Orleans jazz, Louis Armstrong. How could I not think of chicory and coffee and Café du Monde, Duke Ellington, and Roll Blues, Jelly Roll Morton, Lead Belly, and Grits. And sort of the originating point of this was the field songs when the Africans first came to America, and so I found sweet potatoes and grains of paradise, and I made that. And so the collection in total is one box with 12 truffles, a CD that plays a song for each truffle experience, and a storybook that tells what was going on during those 12 genres that were greatly influenced by African Americans. And so the final question is, can you bring peace to the world through chocolate? And we'll see. Thank you.